Okay.
Cool. Um, cool. You got the agenda I sent through, so you can see
Yep.
what it is I want to see across the rocket. I'm also doing a pretty hefty checklist, so it may look like I'm not looking, but I'm probably going to be listening to you talk
Okay.
through. So yeah, if I'm not actually, let me know if I'm not looking and you need me to check something out. I'm
Okay.
just doing the check
Sounds
at the
good.
same time. Yeah, cool. Um, right. I'm just looking for your entry. Cool. All right. So, yeah, when you're ready, if you want to talk through and show me the rocket as a whole,
Okay.
I assume you got it
Yeah, I have it right here. Let
there.
me see if
Yep.
okay, it's
Yeah.
on our tables. Um, so wait.
Just
So I can like start at this end. So we have like the
does
fins on this.
anyone got a phone they can connect? That's a good way to
Oh,
get up nice and
yeah.
close.
Wait, let me join on my phone.
That's a good way to get up nice and close.
Yeah.
So you can keep that laptop out wide, and then so I can get the view of the whole thing. Yep, that'll do.
Okay. No. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Uh,
Mute one side.
yep. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, so just going to change my view so that view is pin that. Thank you. Cool. I'm also looking away from the camera because I'm using my big screen. Just to let you know. Cool. I'm just going to throw that there. Cool. If you can, yeah, just walk me along.
Yep. So I'll start with the fins down here.
Yep.
Um, and then so these are attached. These are fiberglass.
Yep.
And then they're attached through the body tube to the motor mount, and then we just have
Cool.
epoxy fillets um,
Yep.
for all the connections. And then
Yep. Yep.
we have
You
our
have internal fillets there?
oh, what was that?
Internal fillets on the so that's through to the
Uh,
motor mount, is it?
not the fin to the motor mount,
Right.
just on the outside.
Right. Okay.
And then the motor mount has centering rings, and those have like epoxy fillets on them on the inside.
Sorry, what was that last bit? So you can you show me the in the back? So go around the other side,
Yeah.
up into the motor mount. Yeah.
So on the bottom we have our motor retainer in
Yep.
here. And then behind that is a ring, fiberglass ring, and that's epoxy filleted to the motor mount or into the fiberglass tube.
Yep.
And then
Okay.
another fiberglass ring up here. And
Yep.
that's the same thing, epoxy to both. And then a third ring up here.
Okay. Cool.
Yep. And then
And there'll be. Are you doing tip to tip on that?
Oh, for
on
the
the?
fiberglass.
Yeah.
So these are not laid up. The fins are like fiberglass core. Um,
Yep.
and then there's no layup on the outside.
You're not planning on a layup?
No, we originally we had plywood fins, and then so we
Ah,
did
yeah.
2 layers on those. But
Yep.
these we didn't really get like any movement on these, and they're pretty solid as is.
Yeah, cool. You
So
done have you done fin flutter analysis on those?
yeah,
Yep.
um,
And they're within boundary. You're happy with that?
yeah, they are.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah. So then I can go up here. Our first body coupler is right here.
Yep.
That's bolted in right here, and then it's just shear pinned to the upper body tube.
Yep.
Do you want me to take it apart yet or not yet?
Not yet. No, let's just keep running up and just generally talk about the rocket at the moment, and we'll go into more detail.
And then the eBay will be mounted in here, with
Yep.
the ink chute up here and the drogue chute down here.
Yep.
And then the nose cone up here. And this also is shear pinned, so it'll like slide out.
Yeah, cool. So nose cone eject on the main.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Cool. So going back to the let's go in a bit of detail on the booster. Can you talk for your retainer? Do you have is there a need for a fluff thrust plate, or looks like you don't have much room between that?
No, so it's just bolted into the fiberglass ring at the bottom.
Yep, cool.
It's like one of the Aero Pack like screw-on retainers.
Yep,
So we just slide the motor in and then screw the cap on.
okay, cool. And that's bolted direct to the centering ring, is it?
Yeah.
So the centering ring will transfer the thrust.
Yep.
Cool. And you're happy with the size of the centering ring, and you've filleted that centering ring?
So we originally had plywood center rings on our last rocket, and those worked really well. And now these are fiberglass.
Yep.
So they should work even better.
Okay. Cool. And is there fillets on those internal on that centering ring?
There's fillets on this bottom one down here, before we
Yep.
screw on the retainer. And then this third one up here, there's fillets
Yeah,
to the
cool.
body
Okay.
tube. And then the second one, we just put like epoxy on the outside before we slid it in, because
Yeah.
we had no way to access that one once the
Yep.
top one's attached.
That's fine. Yeah. Yeah. And your aft centering ring, is that up against your fins, or is it?
Yeah, it's up against the fins.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Yeah, that should transfer the thrust enough.
Mhm.
Cool. What else do I need to know about that? The motor you're using, so can you remind me?
What was that?
Your motor, can you
Um,
remind me what it is?
it's an M2400 from Aerotech.
Cool. Have you assembled that particular motor
Yep,
before? Yeah,
twice.
you've done it twice. Cool. Um, cool. The and that was on this particular rocket model. So is this a test?
So we did a test flight in February. And the launch worked well. It was just the deployment that
Yeah, cool.
didn't work entirely.
Right. We'll
We
talk about it in a little bit, but yeah,
Okay.
I just want to confirm you've flown that particular motor.
Oh yeah, we've flown it.
Yeah. That's all I was after there. Cool. Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. Next, let's talk about the drogue chute. Talk about the chute packing, separation, etc. If you can just walk me through all of that.
Okay. They're not packed right now. But
Yep, that's okay.
um, let me show you how it separates. You wanna...
Yeah, so that's what if you can show me the separation first.
Yep.
Um,
So the drogue separates from the bottom of the top body tube. So we can slide it out. So it'll fire the black powder charges from the bottom of the eBay, and then the two halves
Right. Okay.
will separate like that.
The eBay is bolted in the middle of um your payload tube, is it?
Oh, these right here.
The eBay is. So no, I was
Oh.
just what was the decision to keep the coupler in the booster?
Um, it was kind of in my experience, I've always put it on the bottom.
Yeah,
Um,
cool. That's
and
fine.
so that's
Yeah,
just what
yeah,
I was used to.
yeah, yeah. That's fine. I was just curious. So
Hmm.
yeah, we see them in both directions. I always like to ask what your
Yeah.
decision point on that was. So if it's just experience, that's good. Cool.
And also for payload, it left us the option that um we were putting our payload down here. And so we could mount it to here if we needed to.
Oh yeah,
That was like kind of the other part of that.
yeah. Cool. So yeah, that should be fine. So we'll come back to was it the drogue separation? Did you have a problem with separation during your test flight, or was it
Yeah, so the drogue
something
charge
else?
went off, but we saw that the rocket didn't separate. And when the drogue charge went off, we stopped getting data back from both of our flight computers. And
Right.
all of our deployment tests worked well, like both parts separated, drogue and main, in all our
Yeah.
deployment tests. Um, but we think the problem was we added weight like pretty last minute before the launch to the bottom half of the rocket. And so we think
Right.
that added weight made it so that when the charge went off, it didn't fully separate and instead like pushed the pressure back into the eBay. Um,
Right.
so we've accounted for the weight we'll have like actually on the rocket at Spaceport, but since we added extra weight, it wasn't accounted for.
Okay. Did the volume change or just the weight?
Just the weight.
Right. So the pressure on your coupler had changed, had it?
Hmm.
Is what you're expecting? Okay.
Yeah.
Um, cool. How have you gone around? So it'll be a reduced weight for your next flights.
Yeah.
Is that what you're
It'll
saying?
be half the
That's
weight that
been
we had on that attempt.
okay. Yeah, cool. And though your deployment tests have shown separation
Yeah.
at that weight. Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Are you doing another test flight before?
We're not planning on doing another one. It'll just be this rocket and we're going to be taking it there.
Okay, cool. Um, right. Have you are your charge sizes right on the limits? Um um uh is that one of the reasons why the extra weight might not have
Yeah, that's what we were kind of thinking. We probably should have, in hindsight, added some more black powder to it. But yeah, those
yeah,
charges are sized for like the weight that we're gonna have in there.
yeah.
Yeah, since we added the extra weight, then those charges were probably not enough for.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm gonna go with the fact that you have done ground tests on the correct configuration and you've seen successful
Mhm.
separation. So we'll assume the separation will work. Assuming your number of shear pins, etc., hasn't changed, the type of
Nope,
shear pin,
that's all the same.
that's all the same. Okay, as long as that hasn't changed. And
Mhm.
your eBay configuration hasn't changed, you're not opening up new holes or something that is allowing pressure out.
Yeah, all the eBay is all the same.
Yeah, cool. All right. Cool. All right. I'm happy with that. So, sorry, can you show me the anchor points for the lines for
Yeah.
the,
So the first one for the drogue chute and shock cord is right here. So there we'll have an eye
yep.
bolt in here. And so the shock cord and the drogue chute will both attach to this eye bolt that's going to be in here.
Okay.
Um, and then on the eBay, we have eye bolts on both sides. So drogue on one side and main on the other side.
Yep.
And this whole eBay is bolted into the body tube. Uh,
Okay.
and then
Dude, yeah, cool.
in the nose cone, we have the attachment point for the main chute.
Cool. And the bolts go through those aluminium plates in the eBay, I believe, I assume.
What was that?
In the eBay there. So we'll come back to this. I just want to check the you're bolting the eBay to those aluminium plates that are epoxied in.
So the body tube, it's gonna be bolted to the fiberglass. So through the body tube fiberglass and this fiberglass.
Yep.
And then these bolts will have, or these plates will have bolts going through lengthwise to keep
Okay.
separated evenly.
Yeah. How many bolts are you looking at?
Around we're gonna have six, so 2 rows of six, and then
Yeah.
four
Okay.
through the plates.
Yeah. And the will there be a captive nut or something on the internal?
Can you say that again?
Will there be a captive nut or something on the internal
Oh,
of
for
the
like
eBay?
mounting.
Yeah.
We weren't.
What are you bolting to on the inside?
They're just going kind of like threaded through the fiberglass. So we drill the hole small, like tap size.
Yeah.
Um, and then it just basically threads through the fiberglass. And we've had no problem with them like coming loose or coming out or anything.
Okay. Cool. Have you looked at the strength of the fiberglass compared to the forces on it?
Like for mounting.
Yeah, so the separations will put a lot of force on your
Mhm.
eBay. So have you done any calculation on the shear strength, etc.
We
Of the
haven't on the
fiberglass?
fiberglass, but we have on these plates. Um,
Okay.
because we figured most of the force will be going through these eye bolts.
Yeah.
So originally, um, these plates were like 3D printed PLA, and then we put plywood on both sides, and then did a fiberglass layup on that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
but we switched to aluminum just so that they're
Yeah.
like stronger, and we also don't have the problem of them like getting pushed in, or anything. So
Cool.
these eye bolts will through that aluminum plate will be able to handle it.
Yeah, most of the force is going to transfer though into your
Yeah, the one
into
going.
those aluminium plates and into the fiberglass.
Okay,
So yeah, that's just why I was checking whether you're done.
okay. We haven't, but we can definitely do that.
I would strongly recommend that just to confirm. I know your test flight's probably shown that they're okay,
Hmm.
um, which is if they're if you've got a large safety margin, that's fine.
Okay,
But if you're on the edge, consider other things like the simple fix may be just a couple of threaded rods
okay,
into the plates, just to transfer some of the weight between the plates.
okay,
Yeah, if you're on the edge, but if you've got a large safety margin, then I wouldn't worry about it too much.
okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, so just double check that, and then yeah,
Okay.
cool, awesome. All right, can you show me the shock cords? Do you have them there?
Yeah. So this is the
Cool.
shock cord we're using. I think it's 4,000 pounds rated.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a nylon.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're using it for both sides.
Cool.
We've had again no problems with it.
All right. Cool. What's the length for that?
So for the drogue, it's 30 feet, and for the main, it's 40.
Yeah. Okay. And your separation tests, your separations didn't stretch that, did
Uh,
they? Or
Yeah,
On
so
your separation tests, did they get close to being full length after they
yeah, close.
separated,
They
or?
didn't get all the way, but they got close to, and also um we didn't have any problems because we wanted to test like tangling and that kind of thing.
Yeah,
So we got them stretched to the point where we could tell that it wasn't gonna like tangle or anything.
yeah, cool. Yeah. Have you got a third loop in that for your um how are you configuring that? I can't remember.
For like
For
tying them.
configure. Sorry, 2 seconds. I'm just having a look at your diagram.
Okay.
Cool. And you're looking to tie that directly to the eyeball.
Yeah.
Is that correct? No, no coupler. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, these are the shock cord is tied directly to the eye bolts.
Okay. How do you how do you get both ends of that on?
So first we
What's your plan?
tie one end to the eBay.
Yeah,
And then so we tie the shock cord and the parachute, and then we slide the eBay in to the other end. And then we pop it up the top end so that we can tie the main
yeah.
shoot shock cords on, and then we can slide the eBay back in place, and then we can tie it to here and then also to the nose cone.
How are you tying it to the back end? To the booster?
Um, well, so there's a clear like there's clearance from the eBay to here where the
Yeah.
eyeball is. So we just tie one into the eyeball and then one into this the one into
Yeah.
the
On that second one, how are you tying it?
what was that?
How are you tying the second end?
Well, so it's just a fisherman's knot like directly onto the
Oh, okay. And you've have you done calculations on the load on that particular type of knot?
um yeah, sort of. Nicholas, if you want to talk about that, like what calculations you've done. If he's here.
He's unmuted.
Sorry, I my microphone is weird. It's always messing up. Um, I haven't
Nice.
run any calculations yet, specifically on that. But yeah, I definitely could. Is there any? Oh, I don't know. I've been having trouble finding I don't know how to calculate the load, but
Okay.
yeah.
Maybe check with your mentor or your maybe a faculty advisor might be able to put you in the right direction just to find somebody that knows the way to calculate that.
Yeah, we haven't done any calculations for the knots.
That's it. Yeah, that's okay. As I just want to so in your test flights, the knots we've held the um
Yeah, we had
so you
no
had a separation failure. Have you've done multiple test flights?
just one.
Okay. Have you had a successful separation yet?
No, it was just the one where it didn't fully separate.
Okay. All right. I definitely gonna get you to run the calculations in.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
just because so a knot could be your single point of failure there. But the way around it is to get a known, just use a D-link with a known strength
Okay.
and use that to put it to the eye bolt. So there'll be data on the loop strength from the manufacturer. That looks like one of the ones. Did you get that from Wildman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the product description, I think there's information on the strength of the loop on the sewing length.
Oh
I
yeah.
think you take so the other way you can do it is take I think it's a quarter of the total strength.
Okay.
But you might need to confirm that. I can't remember off the top of my head. But the other way around it is to find some like a D-link connector that has a known
Okay.
strength that's beyond that gives you a good safety margin on that,
Okay.
and then you're fine to go. So
Okay. Sounds
yeah.
good.
Otherwise, run the calculations on the knot just to confirm.
Okay.
They don't need to be exact from a safety perspective. Your engineering judge might want to see that data, just
Yeah.
a heads up. So yeah,
Okay. Well,
because this is an engineering project, I'm only here for safety.
okay.
So yeah, yeah, cool. Right. So now that we covered all of that, I think the next thing is sorry, 2 seconds. Yeah, if you talk me through the main shoot and main separation, if you can
Okay.
show me that now.
Yeah. So that comes off. Yeah. The nose cone. So the nose cone will just pop off, and that's also shear
Yep.
pins the same way.
Yep.
And then I bolt here for that.
Yep.
And then also
Cool.
to eBay inside.
All right. Cool. And what epoxy have you used on the fillets there on the joins on the nose cone and the
JB Weld like steel reinforced epoxy. And that's what we use for all the epoxy and all the fillets.
okay. Cool. That particular product doesn't have a high elasticity, so it has a tendency to shatter under load,
Okay.
essentially. Just a heads up on that. You may be asked to calculate the strength of your epoxy.
Okay.
Particularly for the RSO as you're going through, so that might also be a particular sticking point.
Okay.
We haven't talked yet about. I should probably go back to the booster as well and talk about surface prep for the epoxy. So if you can just walk through what you did for the surface prep.
Yeah. So on all the fiberglass, we cleaned it down with isopropyl alcohol and then sanded all the surfaces.
Yep.
So both on the body tube and the fins. And we sanded it going this way so that it could
Yep.
get into the grains better.
Yeah, cool.
So that was where all the fillets and everything go. And same thing for the centering rings inside.
Yeah. And did you use JB Weld on the fillet joins
Yeah. So on all these.
and the fillets?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. So you may be pulled up by the RSO on the way through and been asked to look at. It depends on how they go, but the RSO may pull you up on using that particular product and get you to show that you're within safety margins of the shear strength of the epoxy
Okay.
and the elasticity. So there's
Yeah.
definitely information up on the Rocketry forum on how to calculate that if you get stuck.
Okay.
That's what I use for my level 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely know that's there.
Okay.
But check with your mentor.
Yeah.
The other thing is I'm not 100% familiar. So I'm from Australia here. We definitely frown upon that particular product. There might be that the RSOs in America are a bit more loose around that, which is fine as well.
Yeah, because we asked our
So
mentor about it too, and he was like, that
yeah,
epoxy should be fine. So
yeah, cool.
yeah.
As long as if your mentor's there and can justify why the choice of that particular product, then that should be fine. That should be enough.
Okay.
Just giving you a heads up though.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. Let's move into the eBay.
Yep.
Particularly, I'm looking at your switches, wiring, battery retention, battery types.
Yep. So we have these LiPo batteries here. And they're held in. So we have 2 3D printed pieces. And it's also taped around the whole plate. So these like won't come out.
Yep.
in the eBay, we'll have this on one side and the screw switch on the other side.
Yep.
And these wired to the flight computers so that we can just
Okay.
stick a screwdriver in.
Okay. Your battery types, are they within spec of the DTEC?
Yeah, and also to the Telemega, so both.
Cool. What type of batteries are there?
It's 7.4 volt LiPo batteries.
Do you have the type of batteries?
Yeah, it's these ones right here. These 7.4 volt 430.
Are they flat packs or
Oh, what was that?
are they flat packs or in a cylinder?
They're flat.
Can you show me one? Have you got one there or are you
Yeah.
it's out?
Or I don't think I have. This is a similar one, but this is not the exact one that's in there. But if you can kind of see it through the clear plate.
Do they have a steel outer shell?
And then this is what it like sort of looks like.
Uh, cool. Is there a model number on the actual battery?
Yeah, so it's this Gen's Ace and the model number is GEA 4. If you want me to type it in the chat, I can do that.
So I'm just bringing up the DTEC because they look like flat packs which aren't allowed.
Okay.
Just want to
We
confirm.
also asked our mentor about it, and he said that they looked good.
Okay.
So
The DTEC specifically. So just I'm trying to find it now. Moved everything around.
because I know there have been like things about like issues with lipos in the past.
Did you confirm in the DTEC whether it was allowed or not?
Yeah,
And it looked all right.
yeah.
Yeah, cool.
And then yes, when we asked our mentor about that too, he said that also to make sure that they're spec'd to the flight computers that we're using. And that's what we made sure of also, because they require a pretty specific type of battery for the telemegas.
Right. Are they from the manufacturer?
They're not, but Telemega tells you like the specific type of battery you need to connect it. And so
Yeah, cool. So that means they're covered, yeah. Yeah, cool. So if you bought the right battery that the Telemega are telling you to buy, I believe
Yeah.
that's covered.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So it's considered a manufactured supplied battery, I think, from my reading of the DTEC.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What else do I need to see there? So we've got that. Your charge wells, they look like conduit, is it?
Yeah,
Just
so these are PVC and they're epoxied to the aluminum plates.
yeah, cool. And
Um,
your how do you load them? Can you talk me through loading? What
yeah.
you're gonna do?
So we we take little like plastic bags and fill them with black powder.
Yep.
And then put the E-matches in there and then tape it up and tie it up. And then we
Right.
put
Okay.
it into the PVC and
Yep.
then take off the end of the PVC.
Yep. Cool.
And then yeah, this is all while the computers are off. And then once it's all loaded in, then we'll turn it on with the screw switches.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Um, Cool. Happy with the mountings retention. Are you comfortable with the screw terminals? Is there anything you're going to do to further retain the wires?
So yeah, once these are in the eBay, they'll wrap around pretty like tightly, so they're not like loose in there.
Yep.
So yeah, these are not going to be like loose hanging around in there.
Yeah, cool. And the screw terminals on the Telemega, you're comfortable that they'll stay connected?
Yeah. Yeah. They stayed
Cool.
connected during the whole last flight too.
Yeah,
But
cool.
lost.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to hear you say. Cool. All right. So we spent a bit of time on those batteries. let's
Yeah.
let's move on. I'm happy with the rest of that.
Okay.
Cool. And your payload's going in the booster, you were saying?
Yeah, right
And
around
just hold
here.
it. It's just a. Do you have your payload there? Is it
Yeah, I can take.
just an inert weight?
I can show you. Yeah, so it's gonna be right around 9 pounds. And it's a 360 camera that will extend out
Okay.
the side. So it's gonna be mounted on this rail here.
Yep.
And then it will like be in here, and then it'll slide out
Oh yeah.
at
Yeah.
apogee.
Okay. Yep. Cool. There's no motor deploy. I don't think there's anything specifically there that's going to deploy it. What? How are you deploying that at Apogee?
We're gonna have a Arduino connected to it.
Yep.
And we're using accelerometers so we can detect right before apogee or when it's getting
Right.
close to apogee. Um,
Yeah.
then it'll extend out.
Yep.
Uh,
Cool.
so
All right.
accelerometers and also altimeters.
Yep. Cool. Right. Let's talk through your test results. So you didn't have a successful deployment
Mm-hmm.
in your test flight, but you're happy with the ascent.
Yep. Yeah, we were really
Yep.
happy
Was
with
it?
the launch and ascent.
Yeah. Cool. Was it stable?
Yeah.
You're happy with the speed off the
Yep.
rail, I should say.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, yeah. Cool. Do you know what that speed was by any chance?
Um,
Do you have
I
the test data there?
I think I do have it, but not on hand. On my phone, I do.
Okay. All
Uh,
right. And yeah, so your deployments obviously that's a bit of a flag for us, but from a safety perspective, I'm going to put some notes down on that. You should be right to go ahead
mhm.
based on your ground tests, just as a heads up to the next reviewer.
Yep.
Um, all right. The last thing is talk me through your checklists and preparation pre-flight. Um, what do we want?
Yep.
I'll keep
Yeah, so we have a whole procedure written down. And so the first thing we do is tie the shock cords and parachutes to the eBay and then also the eye bolts.
Yep.
And then we load the black powder in before we put the eBay into the body tube.
Yep.
And then we can slide in the eBay, mount the eBay. And then once all that's mounted, we can put on the nose cone and put those shear pins in, and then
Yep.
connect the body tubes, put those shear pins in. And then the last thing we do is put the motor in. And then when we take it out, then we'll turn on the flight computers, and then we can check from our computer if we're getting like signal from the telemegas.
Yep. Do you have a way of determining the each of the computers if they're both running at the same time?
Yeah, and so we have two computers connected to each flight, or one computer connected
Gotcha.
to each flight computer.
Yeah.
So we have like redundant antennas and redundant like laptops connected to them. So we can
Okay.
read data from each flight computer separately.
Yeah, cool. Cool. And so you'll get on the rail. Talk me through your step by step there on getting it
Yep.
on your launchpad ops.
Yep. So once we put it on the rail, then we'll first turn on the redundant telemega. They're both wired up the same, but we have a primary and a secondary. So we first turn on the secondary flight computer, and make sure we're getting signal from that, and then turn on the main one, and make sure we're getting signal on that. And then once we're getting signal on both flight computers, um, then we're pretty much good on that.
What do you do next?
Then we'll put the igniter in the motor,
Nice.
and then yeah, connect that to whatever the ignition source is over there.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. And scrub. So
Yeah,
if you have a scrub, what's your checklist for that?
yeah. So first thing we'll do is take out the igniter out of the motor, disconnect that, and then we'll turn off the flight computers, again using the screw switches. And then once we've verified that both are off, then we can lower the rocket and take it off the pad, off the rail.
Yep. Okay. And your recovery checklist.
Yep. So when we're tying the shock cords and parachutes, first we'll wrap them up how they're gonna go, to make sure that they don't tangle once we put them in. And then
So I was talking post flight.
oh, okay. Yeah, so we're reading GPS location on both flight computers,
Yeah.
from the laptops. So we'll be able to track like where they are, or where they've landed. And we don't have any like separate trackers on there. But we're considering just adding like a small tracker to the nose cone.
Yeah.
Just like a beeper or something like that, so that when we get close, we can find it. But the
Yeah.
GPS location from the telemegas are pretty accurate. That's what we used last time, to find
Yeah.
the location of where it landed.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. And once you get to the rocket.
Yeah, so then we'll turn off the flight computers using the screw switches.
Yeah.
And then we can pack it up just to make sure like everything's disarmed, before
Is
we
there any other step you should be in there?
um we'll check the motor to make sure that that's
Yeah.
like not gonna,
Make sure you have a step to check for undeployed
and
black
also
powder.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's also
So
with like disarming the flight computers.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have your checklist there?
For like recovery.
For all of them? Do you
Yeah,
have
so
them printed out or you got
we have
um
procedures written down all the way up to launch, but we haven't written down the recovery ones yet.
okay. All right.
Just
You'll be asked to present those on the way out. So
yeah,
yeah,
and
they'll
we'll
need
have
to
a
be
little.
ready, but
Yep.
yeah, cool. All right. So um cool, I think that's it.
Okay.
So next just yeah, so that's it for me. Oh, actually, I missed a couple that I did the other day. I accidentally missed it. So your team number and frequency, what's your plan on putting that on?
So the frequency for the flight computers, is that what you mean?
Yeah, so there's a requirement for you to show that on the outside of the rocket.
Oh, okay. Um, so would we just like write those down on the outside or something?
You can do, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
if that's your plan, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Make sure that's not. So that's a part of that's a requirement in the DTEC. So make sure you're across that.
okay. Yeah, we'll just have those somewhere on the front of it then.
Yeah. Okay. Um, there's one more I keep forgetting to ask. So I'm just going through my checklist to make sure I got it. Cool. The last thing is you'll need a downloadable link of the video sent through to Ezra
Okay.
to the email address. So just make sure you you get that done. So I think we're pretty much done.
Okay, sounds, and is that just like the main email address for?
Yeah, it's got general.info@EzraRocket. That'll
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds, um,
Yeah. So I think is the one you normally use to communicate with them.
okay,
Cool.
sounds
All
good.
right then. Awesome. Thanks for that.
Thank-
Yeah, so get that to them and I'll get my results to them as well.
Okay,
Cool.
sounds great.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
All right, thanks guys. Great to meet you.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.